In Minnesota, you can't blame the running game. It's all on the passing game. And if you're Adrian Peterson, how do you feel right now? Think about Larry Fitzgerald in Arizona. He's got to be thinking, I never should have signed that contract. I should have become a free agent. Now, Larry Fitzgerald had some role in bringing Kevin Kolb to Arizona, but still, Fitzgerald has to be feeling remorseful, and you have to wonder how Adrian Peterson really feels. He's having a career year, and I think he's having a season that 10, 20 years from now, we're going to look back on what Adrian Peterson did in 2012, coming off that torn ACL, playing the way he has. He needs to average 138.5 yards per game to get to 2,000 for the season. That's going to be a legendary performance, and he's now in the conversation based on what he did this year as one of the best running backs of all time. Now, he's still got to get the yards and finish, top 5, something like that. But how do you reconcile his performance with the rest of the offense? And how do you not have a passing game to complement the best running back in the NFL? This is exactly where the Vikings were in 2008 when they had Tavares Jackson. They couldn't pass even though you had 15 guys in the box on a running play, and Adrian Peterson was still getting his yards. And it was ridiculous on Sunday to think that when the game was still undecided, the Vikings are throwing the ball instead of continuing to pound it to Adrian Peterson. I'm not saying Leslie Frazier needs to be fired. I'm not saying Christian Ponder needs to be replaced. They need a new offensive coordinator, or they need a new approach. They need to do something. They need to spend the 7 months of the offseason coming up with a way to throw the football effectively, given that everyone next year is going to be more obsessed than ever with stopping Adrian Peterson. But the Vikings, as I've been suggesting all season, I'm sorry, Vikings. I know people who listen to me on KFAN with Paul Allen. They don't like when I'm saying that the Vikings are done, but I've been saying it all year. I don't care what the record was. That stretch after the bye week, it's murderer's row, and they've lost the first 2. And even if they're not going to run the table. They could maybe beat the Bears this weekend and create some hope at 7-6. But a lot of the tiebreakers fall against the Vikings, head-to-head with the Seahawks, head-to-head with the Buccaneers, head-to-head with the Redskins. I just don't see the Vikings running the table. And 9-7, that would still require a better finish than I think they can do, 3-1. Even that is probably not going to get them in. So it's going to be about thinking toward the future. And look, at 6-6, it's much better than anybody thought they would be after last year's debacle. But they got to do something to improve that offense to complement Adrian Peterson, because sooner or later, just like people are starting to think Larry Fitzgerald's going to want out of Arizona, Adrian Peterson's going to want out of Minnesota if they can't make that offense better, so they need to.